meeting to order and ask everyone to stand for the pledge, followed by a moment of silence. Ask Mr. Kidwell if you lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. First thing on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion? Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is recognition. No recognition?
No recognition for that.
Next is public comment. Do we have any public comment? And we don't have any public comment, but we have Matt McFadden here from Secure Solar Phase 2 for a presentation. Matt?
Well, you guys all know me. We've been at this for about 2 or 3 years now, and I appreciate everything you guys have done and the faith you've taken in me. And I hope our savings are showing exactly on track for what we looked at from the first phase. So I'm going to burn through this fast since you already know who I am, where I'm from, and all these jazz. This is a new presentation, so I can slow down if you want. But we're doing everything under the sun at this point in time. We're succeeding at it. We're different with how we design it. We finance, build, own, operate. Of course, we're going to take care of everything that goes on here. You guys are on our partner list, and that goes to everything that we show. So you guys get brought up at all kinds of cool different things. You also had the Throwing Solar Shade. You guys did a great thing, which I've got a snippet of in here, and I do want to spend just a second on that. We got the workforce development, which if you know Mason actually worked for our workforce development, got his college credits, went to school for him, and then Wise County Schools poached him from our installation services, and he's now an HVAC technician up at Wise. Great. So yeah, I mean, congrats to Mason. He's a great dude, and all kinds of good stuff coming out of that. You know the program framework. We're not changing anything. We're still giving college credits, $17 an hour, all that jazz, throwing solar shade if we can find teachers that want to be a part of it. We've done roof restoration. You guys know how that goes. Here's your phase 1 progress. Everything is doing what we said it would, which is fantastic. All the power bills match up to the savings. Everything is producing what it was supposed to produce. And we'll be meeting up with you guys soon to just do that little review that we have promised. 9 students participated in the Throwing Solar Shade program of 22. 10 students participated in the 22-23 job training program. So all those students get the $17 an hour, the boots, the gas, the shoes, the college credits, and all those things. So we've got a ton of kids that have the opportunity to now go forward and be electricians, electrical engineers, all of these things, and I'm super duper proud of this. It's a big thing for me. And then you guys know about the $30K grant for your bus charging infrastructure, so there's that. This is what your groups did in the Throwing Solar Shade. They did an effective placement surface on panel temperature. So wherever it's placed, the changes in temperature, they wrote basically their hypothesis, their conclusion discussion. They got to present this at the Science Museum of Virginia. I don't know if any of y'all were part of that, but if not, they got bussed up there. They did all that, they presented it, and then next year when we do it, because of Lee and Wise asked that we turn this into a competition because they want to win something. And both Lee and Wise thought their presentations were better than the other folks. And I'll give them a hand, it was. And so what we're going to do from now on is actually turn this into a competition for scholarships. So we're going to give scholarships to the students that participate. That's coming. We're also updating our Throwing Solar Shade to not just have in-class stuff. So when you have a teacher shortage or teachers that don't want to do this, we're actually creating a learning management system for them that they can go through. And it's not just going to be installations on the roof. It's going to be financial. It's going to be engineering. It's going to be the technical evaluations of all the data. They're going to be able to shadow each of the employees at Secure Futures and have an opportunity to be an intern there if they kind of cut out everybody else. So it's just based on performance. But that's just that in a nutshell. Here's your new project. This is what's left in Lee County that we see as financially viable and will work for what we're looking at for phase 2. So we got Dryden, Elydale, Pennington, and Thomas Walker. That gets you to about 736 kW and about an average of 75% offset for those schools. Here's what it could look like on Dryden. And you see that's an 88% offset of the energy there. Here's what it could look like on Ilydale, 83% energy offset there. We got Pennington Middle, 98% offset there, which this will shrink just a little bit after engineering, just like the high school and the tech center and the others did. And then here's Thomas Walker, and these will change, and we'll obviously make sure your folks can walk to the drains to do drain cleanouts and things like that, as we did before when we go through the 30, 60, and 90% engineering. So that's everything in a nutshell. You wanted me to blaze through it, this is blazing through it. So what you're looking at as your economic summary for what could happen next, year one savings are going to be about $14,000 in addition to what you're already saving with the other round. Annual savings, if you take that $889,000, you divide it by 25, that's going to give you an annual average of $35,000. And we're still keeping the escalation low like we did before. That way that the grid is always going to outpace. Okay, so that's kind of the project of what we see as financially viable with what you've got going on currently. Now, here's the surprise part. So Stacy and Brian have been part of applying for something called the Coalfield Solar Fund. What is the Coalfield Solar Fund? The Coalfield Solar Fund is Intuit partnered with us because of the project we did in Wise, where that was one of their, what do I call that, a prosperity center, if you will. And they liked that idea, and they liked that it turned out with solar options. So Intuit wants to donate money to help make solar happen across the Coalfield area that you see here in the blue and the orange. Now the blue is Virginia, the orange is West Virginia, but because you guys are part of all this, you're a part of this. And I sent you a letter saying that, from Intuit, saying that if you guys decide to move forward with this, there's a conditional grant that you guys will get for this. And I believe it was in the $70,000 to $75,000 range based on the project size. So that's going to be free and clear money for you to do what you want to with. And I couldn't do it for the first round. I promised you I would try to do it for the second. So I worked it out to work for the second round. So if you guys decide to sign, vote, move forward on this for phase 2, you get all the stuff I mentioned before, all the stuff you're used to, and then you get the $70-some thousand as well. You'll get half of it at contract signing and half of it on contract completion, and that will be from Intuit, not from us. So that is the Coalfield Solar Fund. Any questions? Thoughts, concerns? I think you guys enjoyed what we did before. I'll look forward to doing it again. That is my presentation.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I will say that they have been great to work with. When we had the tornado that came through, they were there the next day to get the panels off the roof so we could do what we needed to do, get that repaired. And anytime we've had an issue, we've been able to get a hold of somebody and been able to call. I didn't put it for a vote this month. It will be up for next month. I think Ms. Belcher and I are seeing savings, every month on the electric bill. So I think it is something we need to look forward to and possibly do in the future.
Okay. Next on the agenda is board comment. Do we have any board comments?
You can help me with this, Mr. Dean. Karen Criddle and Carolyn Benham, I know they have been helping with the vision, hearing, screening.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else? I just wanted to recognize them because that saves the county money when they volunteer.
I can't think of anybody else right offhand, but it's been great. They're easy to work with, and it's saved, and they take care of it and just keep it in the county, and it's worked great.
Is that the Lions Club that's written?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lions Club.
I know a lot of students were bused to the Healthy Day at Lehman Field and were saying about and whatever situations they had, and I thought that was a great thing.
Yeah, I think we've bused over 100 kids out to Lehman Field. There's, I think, at least at Rose Hill, I know I've talked to Miss Ayers there. They had some kids that needed some more work, and I think they're going to bring one of the mobile units there just to work with the kids there. And I talked to the other principals and told them they need to look into that because we've got some students that need some health care, and it's a great opportunity to get that for them.
Yes.
Anybody else with a board comment? Next, we'll move to the consent agenda, which consists of approval of minutes from the August 10th, 2023 regular meeting, approval of claims and expenditures, robotics coaching stipend, approval of updated 2023-2024 workers' compensation panel of positions, approval of Special Education Advisory Committee, SCAC application, approval of disposal of surplus property for SBPDN disposal of surplus items, Approval of a field trip for Jonesville Middle, 7th grade students, Cincinnati Zoo, May 20th, 2024. Elydale Middle, 7th grade students to Washington, D.C., May 20th through 22nd, 2024. Approval of update to Lee County School Board Policy DJA-BR, procurement. Retirement of Lee County School Board Policy GCBD-BR2, leave sharing program. Approval of new Lee County School Board Policy GCBD-BR3, voluntary donation of sick leave / leave sharing. And last but not least, authorize the division superintendent to fill vacancies existing or occurring between September 15, 2023 through October 12, 2023. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Reports of the board. Any reports of the board? No. Reports of the division superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, before I start, I would like to say, I'd like to thank the Sheriff's Office and all of the law enforcement agencies that were involved in the manhunt that took place. We closed down schools yesterday just out of an abundance of caution because we didn't know a lot about this individual and where he was at, what was going on, and we did that to take care of our students and our employees. Appreciate you all being available, and I could call you all and talk to the sheriff, and glad we're back in school today. In your package, you've got the Kingsport Times News Right On recognition. Those are students from Elydale and Pennington. I encourage you to look at those, and if you stop by those schools or reach out to those students and tell them the good job that they're doing. Enrollment, glad to announce that I was a little worried when school started, but we finished the month with 2,782 kids. We built the budget on 2,766 kids. So we're above the projected enrollment, so enrollment's looking good. You have the Head Start report, Lee County Head Start scoop that Ms. Baker provided. If you have any questions on that, I can try to answer them, or we can get those from Ms. Baker. You have a copy of the transportation report and the operations report. As you all know, on the operations, we got a lot of stuff still going on. Gym floor at St. Charles is getting closer to completion. The roof work at Elydale is going. Still working on the tennis building and the softball building at Lee High. I will tell you that we have made some progress on the air conditioning for the Lee High gymnasium. The first number we got really kind of put Ms. Belcher and I into shock of close to $750,000. We didn't think that was feasible, so I reached out to some colleagues, and they have placed these types of units that we have here on the sides of their gyms, and they're really happy with them. I talked to Keith Perigin up in Washington County, and he says they've had a good look at Abingdon and John Battle and Patrick Henry. So we've got a quote on those. The units themselves is going to run about $40,000. The electrical work will probably be about the same, but I think this is a project that we can get done and probably have air in Lee High's gym for next year. Give you an update on that. Accreditation and SOL results, they have released the school quality profile reports, and if you've had a chance to look at that, every school in Lee County will be accredited. Lee High will be accredited with conditions. Conditions is due to being in level 3 for dropouts. So we need to work and get our dropout number lower so they can get, you know, without just being fully accredited, not accredited with conditions, but all of our schools will be accredited. They haven't released the full accreditation report because the appeal process is still taking place. So we're still looking at making sure we didn't miss anything, a dropout that went somewhere else or something that might could change that. But
What about the night school?
we've got that going at both schools.
So that should help.
That will help because, you know, it gives them a different opportunity that they might be able to do night school instead of regular school. So I think that's going to help it well at both schools.
Mr. Dean, is
Yes,
there
ma'am.
any way we could look into the kids that didn't graduate last year, that needed the credits, that they could be contacted?
We can reach back out to them and see if, you know, if they'd be interested in maybe coming to the twilight school or the night school and seeing if that would be a possibility to get them back in and get them finished,
Okay.
give them another opportunity.
What's the age limit on something?
It will depend on the student's status, what the age limit would be. the revised budget, the governor, I believe, signed the budget today at an event. I can give you the highlights. We do not yet have the calculation tool to tell you exactly how that's going to impact us and if there will be any required local effort or required local match. But it's going to increase state funding across Virginia by $645 million. A lot of that's going to a flexible one-time payment that they are asking us to aim at learning loss because of the pandemic.
Is that the 2.5 million, somewhere around?
Yes, yes. But, you know, they've given us some flexibility, but they're asking that we use it toward learning loss. The governor, I think, stated that we haven't gotten back to pre-COVID levels on our performance. And he's also mentioned that, you know, kids have to come to school. One area that I think we can definitely work on is when you look at that school quality profile report, they also have one for the division. We had approximately 13% of our kids who are chronically absent last year. To be chronically absent, you miss 10% of the school year, which is approximately 18 days. So we had over 300 kids who missed 18 days or more. I know we still had some pop-ups of COVID and some other stuff, but we've got to try to do better to get these kids in school every day, and you know, we could definitely use the help of the parents and everyone that's involved. The rough numbers that I have for Lee County on an increase in the budget will be a little over, like Mr. Hines said, about $2.4 million. Part of that is that flexible one-time lump sum. Part of that is they raised the support staff cap, meaning we can have more support staff per so many children. And part of it is an additional 2% of compensation that will go into effect January the 1st. We wouldn't get that 2% money until after January the 1st, in which time we would need to look at changing the salary scales. As soon as Ms. Belcher and I get the calculation tool, we'll start on the budget, and we may have you all on a draft budget for next month. Possibly ask you to vote on it so we can get that out. But as soon as we get that calculation tool, we'll get to work on that. Just wanted to give you all an update on those items.
Okay. Next is unfinished business. No action discussion items.
No, sir.
We've already had more comments, so we'll work through that. Closed session, I'll move that we go into closed session to discuss personnel under Code of Virginia Section 2.2-3711A1. To hear a request to release a student from compulsory attendance pursuant to the Code of Virginia Section 22.1-254B1. And for discuss pending and threatened litigation for the Code of Virginia Section 2.2-3711A7. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are in closed session.